Hello, this is Manesh Patel from Ichimoku Today is June 1st, 2014. This is our analysis for the global stock market, where we cover every country from Europe to Middle East to Asia to North and South America. It's been about a month since we've done these videos. It's really because there's not been much to talk about in these markets at all. They just continuously been going up, so there's no use to kind of do a repetitious video. Anyway, let's begin. This is normal procedure. This is our normal disclaimer here to state this is for education use only. We're not soliciting your buy or selling a particular instrument at all. Today, you're going to be looking at charts specifically from eSignal Interactive Data. Okay, here are our contact details here. You could email us here at info@eiicapital.com, or you could call us any of our office locations here. Also, you could go to our website, ichimokutrade.com. We have our blog. We have multiple time frame email alerts. We have heat maps and various other tools, along with a lot of free videos out there. So there's a lot of content and stuff like that you could access. Okay, so let's go straight to eSignal and start looking at the charts. Remember, the daily time frame is the chart on the left. The time frame to the right is basically the weekly time frame. And remember, we're looking more on a long-term perspective, so we're going to mark up the support resistances on the weekly. With the daily, will be a little more short-term and so forth. Okay, so we're going to start off in Europe. We're going to start off with Ireland. If you look at Ireland here, this is still bullish trending here on the weekly. You could see it's pulled back to the green line here, the support right here, which is around 62.36, kind of held that, bounced off there and got to the resistance here, closed above that resistance last week at 65.08, so now it has a possibility, if it keeps on going higher, to come retest this high and go back to about 67.50. But this could be the beginning of a consolidation pattern here that could last a couple of months, so just be cautious of that, where this could be the bottom of the consolidation pattern, 67.50 could be the top. Okay, UK market here, if you look, really hasn't done anything this year except consolidated. If you look at the range here, this is a short-term support here, but if you look at the consolidation pattern, let's mark that off too here. Whoops, this one here. If you look at the consolidation pattern, it's pretty much between 64.49 here to 68.79 is pretty much where the UK British market's been consolidating back and forth. Really, so we haven't seen anything at all. There is a possibility it could break this week. Sorry, not this week, in the next 2-3 weeks up here and break the 68.79, but we have to wait and see until that happens. And you can see here it's nicely trending here on the daily, and that's why if the daily is trending, then there could be a possibility of breaking out here on the weekly. So we just have to wait and see. German market. If you look at the German market, it's broken resistance here and basically starting a trend on both the daily and weekly. The support right now, short-term support's about 95.68. Long-term support's going to be about 93.72, and that support's going to change week by week because this did break out of the consolidation pattern. So this is making new highs, so keep an eye on that. Remember, one of the pairs trades we've always talked about for the last couple of years is going long German market and short Paris market. If you look at the Paris market here, this is slowly breaking out of its little short-term resistance here and going a little higher too. So both German and Paris are kind of doing that. So if you're still going to do some Paris trade, maybe one of the things you do is you go long maybe the German market, and if you want to short something, maybe the UK British market right now, because it's still consolidating, whereas the Paris market looks like it's broken out a little here by closing above this low resistance value of 44.96 last week. Okay, Switzerland, let's go over there. If you look at Switzerland, it broke out its resistance at 84.73, which is now support. Next resistance is we're looking at is 88.21, and the support, of course, is going to be 84.73. Iceland. If you look at Iceland, really hasn't done anything here. This was a bullish trend here. It looks like it's trying to undergo a pullback right now. At least looks like it'll try to get to the bottom top of this cloud here for the major pullback. That's the only thing that we know minimum right now. So I think the probabilities to get to 472 is high right now, with a resistance right around 380. But notice this is kind of weak compared to everything that you've been seeing from France and Germany. If you look at the Baltic, Baltic here is basically in a major pullback right now because this did sit there and consolidate here. Let me push this in some so you can see. So nice little trending here, the pullback. This is our pullback level here to 474. It hasn't quite reached it yet. It's got a resistance here around 610. So we're kind of ranging between 474 and 610 right now. But this, remember, is just a major pullback for the bullish trend that it went under. Okay. Denmark is the next one. If you look at Denmark, still bullish trending on both the daily and weekly. Starting to get a little weak here because it's this slow consolidation pattern here that's coming here. But it's making a move now to get back to 729. If it gets up to here, this does have a possibility of breaking that. So keep a really good lookout for that. Support on this one's going to be 692 and 656. Next one's going to be Finland. If you look at Finland here, broke out its resistance at 7,500 and now has the potential to keep on going higher. I think at least get to about 7,750, which is nice even number. Sorry, actually we got a level here marked up here, 7,851. It's got a high probability of getting there. Support right now, which is a moving support, is about 7,247 for the Baltic region. Sorry, yeah, Baltic region. Denmark. Oh, sorry, that was Denmark that we just discussed. Sometimes it's kind of hard to read the symbols and names. Finland here, if you look at Finland, broke the resistance last week, closed above it. Looks like it's trying to get to about 78.51. Support at 1. This one's going to be about 72.47. So notice Baltic, Denmark, and Finland. Denmark and Finland are almost looking the same right now. Let's see if Norway is going to look the same chart too. If you look at Norway, this is still very, very strong. This broke out its resistance a couple of weeks ago and still going on very strong right now. This is at an all-time high. 642 is the support, but Norway is breaking out really well. And if you look at percentage-wise, this looks like it's moving up a lot better than all the countries we've discussed so far in the European region. Belgium is next. You could see it's kind of hanging around here in this consolidation pattern. It's at the top of the consolidation pattern right now. Supports about 30.96. Sweden. If you look at Sweden, broke out its resistance. That one's very similar to basically Denmark and Finland. Just recently broke out of resistance. Support now is going to be 13.66. Netherlands. It's right at the top of the consolidation pattern at 407, and the bottom basically is 392. Spain here is basically broken out of its resistance last week and looks like it's trying to head to about 11,080. Support on this one's going to be short term is going to be 10,410, and then around 10,000 is the other one for that was Spain. Next one's going to be Greece. If you look at Greece, Greece finally did a pullback. It did a major pullback to about 1570. It looks like it's trying to go back up here to the highs. However, it's running into some resistances. The first one, it kind of broke a little. You're going to see confirmed this week is going to be about 1740. Next level is going to be 1864. Portugal is the next level here. If you look at Portugal here, it's done a pullback here to about 13,880. It's still in the bullish trend. It's not a major pullback at all. It's a medium. It's right at resistance of 14,347. It's at a very critical point now. If this holds here at this resistance level, then it has a possibility of going to a major pullback and possibly coming all the way back down to 13,000. If it breaks here, then this has a high probability to get to 15,000. So only time will tell exactly what's going to happen with that one. Italy here. It's gonna did a minor pullback here to about 19,900, and I think that's I would say 74. Held that resistance level. It's got a high probability now getting to 22,167. This is still very strong, so it does have a possibility of breaking that. So keep an eye on the Italian market going forward in the next couple of weeks. Austria here really not doing anything except consolidating between 2420 in the middle of the consolidation pattern, which is 2569. Czechoslovakia really doing nothing except consolidating between 957 and 1036. Hungary, if you look at here, this is one wild pattern that keeps on happening here. The bottom of that consolidation pattern is going to be around 16,105. The middle is about 17,818, and the top is basically 19,589. Nothing really going on in Hungary at all. Just one big volatile consolidation pattern. Same thing for Poland, consolidating between 23.20 and 26.18. And then you have Romania. Here, if you look at Romania, just broke the resistance at 65.96. So this does look like it's going to try to continue its trend going up. So this is one definitely keep an eye on in the next couple of weeks to see if it follows through. Of course, it has a high probability getting to the even number 6,800, but does have a possibility, if the momentum is still strong, to getting all the way down to up to 7,000. Slovakia. If you look at here, it's holding its support right around 204. Resistance is going to be 2222. Russia, if you look at Russia here, it's one low crazy market here. Resistance it's running into is 32.79. It was bearish trending here, but now it got back above the grid line and got into the cloud. So that bearish trend is completely over. So this thing could enter a consolidation pattern where this could be the top and maybe 29.61 or around 2700 could be the bottom of the consolidation. But either way, it's not a trending market anymore for Russia. South Africa was doing great at the beginning of the last year, and then look at this. This is a nice little consolidation pattern here. It's kind of close above that resistance level now, where it's basically the resistance level 11,041 it broke. However, I want to see a follow through this week. If it follows through this week, then you know that the trend's going to continue to keep on going up. If not, this is just a fake move here right at the resistance, and at that point could continue to consolidate. But this is definitely one to keep a note of for next week. So if you look at the European regions, if you look at the main countries in Europe, Germany's breaking out with an all-time new high. Paris is too, but Germany seems like it's a bigger percentage. And then if you look at all the other smaller countries, you definitely could see Norway is moving up really huge percentage-wise compared to all the other countries out there. So definitely keep an eye on Germany and Norway. Those are the two kind of hottest in the European region in my point of view. Now let's start moving over to the Middle East. Well, Israel's not there, but we're going to put it... Actually, just should move it up. So Israel here, if you can look at it, it's at a resistance level of 61.65. So this is kind of consolidating here. This is still bullish trending and still very strong, but it's at a resistance level here, and the support's going to be 59.64. And let me move that up for Israel market there. And then you got Turkey. Turkey's not really doing anything except consolidating between 41.85 and 44.62. And now we'll move over to the Middle East completely. You got Saudi Arabia. Remember, Middle East in the last session was booming. You could see it's still moving up with a nice percentage. This looks like it's going to get to 10,000. It's just a matter of when. Support on this guy is going to be 96.21. Dubai. If you look at Dubai here, looks like it did a little pullback compared to Saudi Arabia. So if you look at this is kind of coming out to be a little weak compared to Saudi Arabia. Pulled back to the red line. Still not even a medium pullback at all, but kind of held the 49.81 level, which is a support. This looks like it at least could probably keep on going higher, and maybe eventually by the end of this year could get to 6,000. We'll have to see. Abu Dhabi, same thing as Dubai, pulled back here. It's back at its resistance here. So Abu Dhabi is still stronger than Dubai, but still weak compared to Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia still hasn't undergone a pullback. But this support level here is 49.31. Iran here is breaking out to all-time high, keeps on going up, up, up. Looks like it's trying to get to the 15,000 level, 1500 level. 1406 is basically the support for Bahrain. Kuwait. If you look here, broke out its resistance, kind of pulled back, held the support at 1183. It's still very strong going into next couple of weeks. Oman. Really trying to do a major pullback. It seems like the major pullback's to 67.31, kind of holding there. Resistance for this guy is going to be 7,084. In Qatar, here is breaking out to highs too. If you could look at this, you could shrink this down, but this seems like it's just like Saudi Arabia that keeps on moving up. Of course, this looks like it'll get to 14,000, just like Saudi Arabia will get to 10,000. So the countries in the Middle East that are really hot right now, basically Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and then you got Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and then the rest of them that pretty much follow after that. Let's go over to Asia. If you look at Asia, let's look at China. If you look at China, just consolidating continuously between 2049, so 59 and 2247. Really, there's nothing right now that's telling us that this is going to break out a consolidation pattern. But this thing is just consolidating. So there's no real trend here, and we don't see that at all. It's still a little bearish tilted. So, excuse me, be careful and try to go bullish. Okay. Longer consolidates, the more chances it does having getting bullish. Hong Kong is one big mess too. If you look at it, support on this one's about 21,649. Resistance is 23,920. Korea, if you look at Korea, that's just consolidating too between 251 and about 264. So nothing exciting going on there. Nikkei. If you look at the Nikkei market here, got all the way to a resistance level of 16,215, bounced off that, came down to a support level right around 14,000. So far it's held it, but it's at a minor resistance level now. It's very critical to see if it's going to hold this resistance level of 14,750. If it holds that level, then this, believe it or not, does have a chance to get to 13,000 and even 12,215. So this is a very critical level. It's got to break this. If it breaks that, then it could come back up to 16,000, keep on going higher, but only time's going to tell. Indonesia, remember we had a trend, we had a major pullback to here, we said it's got a high probability come retest the high. This 5,053 is a very critical level. Because you don't have to necessarily retest this resistance completely. You'll go up here. You could have a lower test of resistance, and if you do, that's going to indicate this is a trend reversal or possible consolidation pattern. So 5,053 is a major resistance level. It's held. It got to our target level there. Now it's critical to see exactly what happens here. Support is 48.91. If it breaks the support, it's definitely going to come down to about 4,500, and at that point, it's going to either enter a consolidation pattern or a trend reversal. We'll have to see exactly what happens. But to me, the charts look like a possibility of a big wide consolidation pattern occurring. Thailand here, again, this was trending. This is a major pullback here. This still has not got enough oomph like the Indonesia market. It's still holding a resistance level of 1425. It's got to break to 1454 and get above the cloud to even sit there and come back up to 1600. Until it does that, it's basically not going to continue at all, and it's just going to enter this consolidation pattern here. Support on this one's going to be about 1350, and then 1274 is the next one. Philippines, really, this same thing. Major pullback right now. Broke out of the cloud. It's at a major support right now. 39.92. It's got to hold here. If it holds here, this does have a possibility coming back all the way up to about 45,500 and sitting there at least retesting the high. So this is a good potential trade moving forward, where you could enter here with a very low risk. So keep an eye on this one here. It's got to hold here. If it gets to the green line here, comes all the way back down here, then the possibilities of retesting the high are going to go very low. Vietnam, actually that's not even Vietnam. I don't even know why that comes out there. Sensex, we talked about this after elections, right before elections and during elections, we reached 25,000, as we talked about. You know, a lot of people in India were basically afraid to even trade the markets for the elections, but if you're afraid to trade them, then look what happens. It broke the resistance before the elections and kept on going before to elections and during the elections, and look where it's at. It's the Indians at the markets at 25,000 is the high. Support on this guy, there's two levels, 23,823 and 22,676. Ideally, you kind of want it to see it come here and kind of hold it here and then go higher. If it holds here, then this is going to go back to 25,000, break it, and keep on going higher. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens with the Indian market moving forward. Australian market, kind of broke the resistance here, kind of, yes, and then kind of held it. It's still not taking the oomph to keep on going higher, but this is bullish and it could break out soon. As long as it holds this support at 54.21, this thing can sit there and break out higher. If it pulls back into 52.91, then this is going to enter a consolidation pattern, which will be interesting to see. New Zealand here is bullish trending, still going up, up, up. Minor support in this one's 51.21 and 49.46 is the support. So if you look over here in Asia, you can definitely see the Indian markets booming right now. New Zealand's still hot, which has been hot for the last 2 years, and has continued to dominate over in Asia. I know some people will say, well, that's South Asia, but I'm going to group everything in here as to be Asia. It's not for ignorance, but just more towards easy to do these videos. Let's go over to North and South America. Let's look at the US Dow. If you look at the US Dow, we closed above this resistance here at 16,588. We now need to see a follow for this week for this market to keep on trending up. And you could see here that there was a little bleep here, but we're kind of looking at this level here as the main level, as a resistance level. If you look at the S&P, you can see it definitely broke out completely, so there's no iffy thing like the Dow. So Dow is a little weak compared to the S&P, so this is broken out. Support on this one's about basically 1859. Now, some of the things we've been hearing in the US is the US market's going to crash. Let me tell you something. Until we get below this green line here on the weekly time frame, we're not going to crash at all. In fact, when we get below this green line, that tells me we're about to undergo a major pullback. There's no way you're going to go for a crash unless you go for a major pullback. So this market's still very, very healthy. You're going to start seeing minor pullbacks to the red and green line, which are healthy for the trend to keep on going up. And you could continuously see that where here, 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 where it's continuously pull back to the red and green, and those pullbacks are very healthy for the trend to go up. You don't need it to go straight shooting up. If you do, then it's definitely a fake little movement up. So the US market is still very healthy. If the very first thing it needs to undergo is a major pullback. NASDAQ here is basically right at the resistance level, kind of closed above it, just like the Dow. 37.01 is a support level. You need to see a follow through completely. So as far as the U.S. markets are concerned, the S&P is basically the strongest of the three right now, and then basically after that you got the Dow and the NASDAQ. Canada, TSX. If you look at it, it's basically breaking up higher and higher and higher. It's bullish trending on both the daily and weekly. Major support on this one's going to be 14,234. Next is Mexico. Mexico is really not doing anything. Has a chance to break out here if it could hold its support at 41,519 and get to this resistance or break it at 42,687. But it's got to hold here. If it holds here for the next couple of weeks, then you have the possibility of getting to the top of the consolidation pattern here and then possibly breaking it. But we have to see exactly what it's going to do. We really don't know, so we need price to tell us exactly what's going to happen. Argentina is continuing its dominance moving forward into this year too. Remember, this was the top. If you look at our institutional report we put out the first quarter of this year, Argentina was the best country last year, moving up 103%. You could see it's still dominating going into 2014, continuing to move up here. So that's a market that's basically booming and pretty much almost in a bubble scenario. Santiago, Chile, not really doing anything here. Had a chance to keep on trending bearish down here. Didn't do so. It came back into the cloud. So it looks like there's a high probability we're going to enter a consolidation pattern where it's either the top of the consolidation pattern is going to be 4,069 or 3963, and the bottom is going to be about 3665. And lastly, Brazil, where the Soccer World Cup is at. It got straight to resistance at 53,882. Bounced off there. It's at a major support now of 49,626. If it breaks the support, this will go down to 45,000 very easily. And if it does, and it does it very fast, believe it or not, it could break this consolidation pattern to go down. Because right now the Brazil market's been consolidating since the middle of last year between 45,270 and 53,882. There's very high probability here that we're going to reach this minimum in the next couple of weeks, especially throughout the World Cup. So be very cautious of that, trying to go long in the Brazil market, because I know a lot of people are thinking they got the World Cup to go long, but be very careful in doing that. Okay, and that concludes this week for our video. I apologize for being not doing these videos more frequently often, but it is the summer and there's not been much activity, so we will try to get back to them into a 2-week format, but it depends on how the markets go. Thank you and have a good week and good luck trading. Thank you.